Hello everyone and welcome back to Guild Wars 2. Today we are doing the mission sign cutting in Heart of Thorns. This particular mission wasn't that difficult. We were just following Rox's trail. The hardest part about this was finding the different, sorry, that was really bright. Finding the different pieces, because you had to like walk over it from the right direction, and then it would like, oh, here's your, like, find the clue essentially. So it was a little annoying because I knew exactly where like some of the clues should be, and you can see in the video where I'm going back and forth a few times because like I know about where the location is supposed to be, especially towards the end, because I'm like, the location of the clue is either here or here. Like there's no in between. Like I know where the location is, and it just was not triggering. I mean, it's triggering my attitude, but other than that, I'm like, this is the most infuriating part. Like the quests that are like, find this, follow the trail, find the clues, like those take me 100 times longer than like any other mission or quest or task or anything like that. Like I will be more than happy to beat up dragons all day long, but for the love of God, stop asking me to follow the clues to my friends. Like, good Lord, stop. Ugh. Me and my pet peeves. I can't navigate is what it boils down to. So Maguma, and actually I've been very fortunate with Maguma. I haven't had a terrible time navigating. Like it's been a little bit awkward here and there at parts of it, especially in like the beginning when I was getting used to it, but for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. The most infuriating part has been the lack of waypoints throughout Maguma. The waypoints are very, very scarce throughout these maps, which it's doable, but it is kind of annoying. But in the same sense, it does kind of make sense because the waypoints are like, for the most part, they're like a camp or something set up by the pact, or like an ally of the pact or something like that. So realistically speaking, it makes sense that when you're in the when you're behind enemy lines and you're literally like conquering into this space, like, yeah, you're not gonna have those safe spots, right? So it makes sense, which again is one of the reasons why I like this game, because the map and the quests do connect. Words are hard, especially at, oh my god, it's not even 8 a.m. yet on a Saturday morning when I'm recording this. No wonder my brain is not working. Okay, so fantastic. I'm up early today. So yeah, this whole video is just me running around trying to find Rox's freaking clues. They're about as equally as annoying as trying to find Tiny's clues from a few episodes ago. It was just it's pointless, right? Like, I get it, it's part of the story, and realistically you wouldn't know like where to go, so you kind of have to follow the trail, but at the same time and this goes back to the map and mission questline connectivity, is there's like they call them the meta events, I think, and like just the general map events where you have to cover a huge range. And me accidentally stumbling across some of these, I have good chunks of the map uncovered and like just general exploration and stuff. So like the clues started back at the beginning and led you to the next area, which was fine, and realistically, like, yeah, that would make sense, but just because of how much at this point we had already discovered, it was rather frustrating, I guess. Like I said, especially because they just would not trigger. Like, I'd walk past like 3-4 times, and then it would finally be like, oh, by the way, like, find the clue. And the clue was right there. Like, literally, there were several times where I, like, ran next to it or whatever. And I'm just like, I don't know if the clues were just that sensitive. And, like, this is a heavily infested area. Like, you cannot go 5 feet without running into 4 enemies. Like, you can't. So the clue location was fairly aggravating because it was always right in the middle of like 4 or 5 enemies. Like, it never failed. I was like, okay, well, fantastic. So like, I can't I don't have AoE. I don't have pins and stuns and stuff. Like, I'm not a multi-target DPS machine. I'm not. I am a single target, sneak in, slice your throat, sneak out kind of character. So it was kind of hard in that respect. I think that's where Maguma is a little challenging with this particular character too, because I don't have any sort of like area of effect abilities. Like, I've got a couple with my bow. No, I have one. One with my bow, and like, that's it. Everything else is single target or movement based. It's not group ground based. And I can jump between like enemies and stuff, but that can get a little difficult. It's not really the easiest to do. It's kind of a weird setup to try and jump around enemies in a circle. It's not quite like, it'd be nice if that was really easy to do and you could do it, but that's not really how the mechanics work for the most part. So, which is fine. Like, I love this character, don't get me wrong. Like, I would not I would have switched to a different character by now if I didn't enjoy this character. Like, I adore this character. I love the mechanics of it. It's just, it's not for every single situation, right? It's for single target, essentially, like, which is fine, but realistically, this game is you're probably better off going with a character that can tank a bunch or can just nuke an area of enemies, especially in Maguma. But also, it's called Guild Wars. Like, you're supposed to be fighting with friends and stuff. So the expectation is that you're not necessarily running around the map by yourself. It's that you're running around with your guild members. So yeah. It's there to I'm sure that many enemies are there to kind of encourage that, which yes and no, because if you're running around with a large group, like, some of them stop to hit the enemies, but I think it's in Path of Fire, they give you mounts. And everybody just skips over everything on their mounts. And that might be the single hardest thing at this point, because originally, like, the original Guild Wars 2 map, Season 2, and Heart of Thorns, and probably Season 3 were all designed without mounts in mind. They were designed with, Maguma was designed with gliding in mind, but the mounts are absolutely obnoxious. Like, there are rabbits that can jump super high, there's things that can fly long distances, there's things that can run super fast. Like, it's insane, but it changes the dynamic of the map. And so, like, I probably could dip into Path of Thorns, good lord, Path of Fire, and get my mount, and then come back and do all this shenanigans, which is what I'm sure a bunch of people have done. But I didn't want to do that. Like, I just wanted to go through and play the game and follow the storyline. So I think that adds a different dynamic to it as well, because instead of running through the map and having all these other people running through the map with you, you're running through the map and people are zipping by you on mountains and things. So it's definitely a little different. Like, I think if everybody was running around and didn't have mounts, it definitely would be a different experience. I think there'd be a lot more chaos on the map. I think there'd be a lot more dead bodies here and there, a lot more, like, players. So it's an interesting, oh yeah, we're at that point. Okay, so we're at the point in the video now where I had a pretty good idea of where I thought the clue should be. Initially, I was thinking it should either be at the end before the portal to the next area, and it wasn't there that I noticed, that I could see. So I was like, okay, well, if it's not here, it has to be at the beginning. I literally walked past that particular clue probably 6 or 7 times, because it was just it wouldn't trigger, and I don't know if that was because of, like, the direction I was coming from or what, but, like, it would not trigger and be like, okay, go find it. And I just don't know if I wasn't close enough to the wall or what, but I was frustrated with this part. I really was, because literally, like, right where that person died is where it was. So when I was resurrecting that person, or when I stopped to check on that person, like, it should have triggered and it didn't. Sometimes things just like to make me rage, I think. Sometimes things just like to be a little teensy tiny bit frustrating, right? Like, why wouldn't I want to be frustrating? No, so it was, like I said, this is a very, this quest is either going to take you 5 minutes or it's going to take you an hour. Like, it's not anything in between. It's either going to work first time for you and you're going to find all of the clues, or you're gonna feel like me and walk right past all the clues and not have them say they're the clues. And because that's the hard part. It's not like with Timey's clues, like they gave you the area, but like you could see coming up like, oh, the clue's there, right? And it was just me navigating to like a specific clue that made that mission go longer. Whereas this one was, you had to walk like over top of the clue, essentially, and then be like, oh, find the clue. Which was a complete pain in the ass. So yeah, you could see here, like I'm kind of walking back and forth in the area, just like, where the frick is this clue? Because I'm like, okay, it has to be in this area, and it's not in this area. So I was like, shit, it has to be in the other area, which I've already circled back 1,000 times, but sure, why not? We'll circle it again. And so I go through, and I'm hugging the wall this time. That's the only difference, is that I'm approaching it from the correct side and I'm hugging the wall, and then it triggered the clue. So even though it gave you an area of effect, if you were not over it, it would not trigger. But that's it for today. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.